Nice to see you.
We're about to take it live on Hardball, if that's all right with you, on MSNBC, if they can swing over to us for now.
Melania.
Hi, it's so nice to officially see you again.
When I do this, I'll do you.
Guys, all right, so Mr. Trump, tell me a little bit, how do you think we're live here on MS right now. Tell me how you feel about how you did tonight, how your performance was.
Well, I think I did very well. I mean, Joe Scarborough and everybody's tweeting that Trump won the evening and he did great, so that means something to me. And so many people are saying that. I think I did very well tonight.
What do you think your best moment was?
Well, I love defending the police. I loved defending the vets and telling it like it is for the vets because I have such a relationship with the vets, a really good one. And, we had a lot of good moments tonight, I think. I thought it was a very good debate. I really thought that the anchors did a very good job also.
Tell me about that moment with eminent domain when you were asked about that. You seemed to be a little bit on defense. Do you think that your message got across?
No, I was on offense. No, I was on offense. I was so happy they asked me that question because you wouldn't have roads, you wouldn't have highways, you wouldn't have schools without eminent domain. And then these foolish people that keep talking about eminent domain, it's not that I love it, but you wouldn't have anything. They talk about eminent domain, but they all are in favor of the Keystone Pipeline. The Keystone Pipeline literally wouldn't go 10 feet without eminent domain. And if you look on the website of the Keystone Pipeline, they have a whole 3 pages devoted to eminent domain, what it is, what it means, and how they're going to use it. So, you just wouldn't have things. So it's not a question of do I love it, do I not. You need it for a country.
You got into it a little bit with Jeb Bush there. You had that moment where you kind of shushed him. Do you think he came off okay, or do you think he maybe came off like a bully?
Well, I think, he said things that were just, he wanted to show he's a tough guy. And that was all right, but he's not a tough guy.
Who do you think of your rivals underperformed tonight, Mr. Trump?
Well, I know who they're all saying underperformed on the internet, and I know who your cohorts
You've already
are
checked
all
your
saying.
Twitter?
They've all told me, but I don't want to say. I mean, you'll see. But they say I performed very well, so that's what matters.
Besides you, who won the debate tonight?
I think I just don't want to say. I mean, I do have a feeling as to who did well, who did poorly. A couple of them did poorly, but it's your position
You're
to say.
passing on, sort of.
It really is. I don't want to do that.
Then let's talk about New Hampshire, because we're obviously here in Manchester. This is a state that you have been leading the polls by double digits for a while here. Is this a must-win for you?
Well, I think tonight was very important, and in golf they have a thing, you're looking for the clubhouse. Well, we have a lead, and I basically had to do well in the debate, and just sort of well. But they say I did better than that, and I'm happy about that if that's the case.
What was it like for you being back on stage? You missed the last one?
Yeah,
I didn't see in the spin.
Yeah, but I raised $6 million for the veterans. So, if somebody said, if you had it to do again, I said I'd do the same thing. Because that moment, in 1 hour, I raised $6 million for the veterans of our country. So I would take exactly the way that turned out with the $6 million for the vets.
If you slip in the polls here, if you end up slipping maybe to second or third place in New Hampshire, number one, is that a possibility? And number two, what do you do about that?
I really don't know. I mean, look, everybody's saying I won the debate. And many of your friends are saying I won the debate easily. I don't know if Sarah's saying it. I don't know if you're saying it. But they're all saying I won the debate. So hopefully I won't be slipping in the polls.
So what is it about your message then that you think is resonating with people specifically in New Hampshire? Because it's such a different state than Iowa. And
right. It's very different. People want protection. They want border security. They want the stop of inflow of drugs and heroin. We have a huge heroin problem up here, and I know about it. There's nobody more, cognizant of it than me. And they know I'm going to do it. I'm going to be able to do it. And do you notice tonight 2 people mentioned the wall? Where was the wall? I've been talking about the wall for 2 years. If I'm president, that wall will go up so fast, and it'll be such a powerful wall. And believe me, we're not going to pay for it. Mexico's going to pay for it.
One of those people was Senator Ted Cruz. Do you still see him as your biggest threat?
I don't know. I mean, you'll have to see when the polls come out, and more importantly, you'll have to see on Tuesday.
Right, do you consider him a threat at all?
I think he's a nice guy, and he was very respectful tonight when he refused to say what he might have said some other time. Have a good time.
Aaron, we're live. Mr. Trump is joining us now, Aaron.
All right, Chris, we're going to continue to
Are you guys ready? All right, Mr. Trump, we're live on CNN.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Mr. Trump, so you did not lob any attacks at your opponents tonight. You were much more disciplined. Are you trying to show that side of yourself to voters in New Hampshire?
It just worked out that way. I mean, I thought it was a very good debate. I thought the moderators did really an excellent job. It was really a very good debate. I was very happy with my performance. Many people, it's in the world of the Twitter sphere, they're all saying that I won the debate, so I'm happy. But I had to do well tonight. And there was a lot of pressure tonight.
Why did you have to do well?
Because, I have a lead, I guess. If polls mean anything, I have a lead. And I don't know that I had to be outstanding, but they're all saying I really did well. So
you got a little bit burnt by the polls, though, in Iowa. Does it feel...
Well, I got burnt by the fact that, Ben Carson lost a lot of votes. And if those votes didn't go over to another person, I would have won Iowa. So, that would have been nice. But I'm not thinking about Iowa anymore. I'm thinking about New Hampshire.
Right. So in New Hampshire, does it feel like you have double-digit lead, like 10 points, 20 points, or does it feel close to you? How do you feel?
Well, I don't know, and we're not going to know. It's easier to poll New Hampshire because you don't have the caucus system. The caucus system is very complex and very tricky, and you saw that, by what happened to Ben. But I think we're going to do really well here. And, I've had a relationship with New Hampshire for many, many years. Many, many years, and I have so many friends up here beyond the political side. So I think I'm going to do well, and it was very important that I, do a good job in the debate.
And you said after Iowa that you guys could have done better with a stronger ground game. How have you sharpened your ground game in New Hampshire? How confident are you that it's
Well,
better?
I'm spending a lot of money on ground game. I think, personally, I think the debate tonight is more important than the ground game because in New Hampshire, the people, they like you, and they're going to go out, and they're going to vote, and they're going to go back. There's not so much of a ground game. I think that our ground game's good, but I really think that the debate tonight was more important than the ground game.
Are you surprised more of your rivals didn't go up against you? Jeb was really the only one who tried to take you on stage.
Well, and actually, if you look, Ted Cruz, they said, did you say that, and will you say that now, essentially to his face, and he didn't want to do that, and I appreciated that he didn't do that. And Jeb tried to go, but Jeb is easy.
Now, what was going through your mind when you saw Marco Rubio give essentially the same response over and over again as Chris Christie was criticizing him as being too scripted?
Well, he was scripted there. I don't know what happened. I mean, he said it after the fourth time. I said, I disagree with you. I think it's the exact opposite about President Obama. But it was a great debate. I mean, people really enjoyed the debate, and it's getting very, very high reviews, and it's an honor for me to have been involved.
Do you look at Marco Rubio as your closest competitor?
I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe the one last. Maybe the last place one, whoever that may be, will be my closest competitor. I look at them all. They're all very smart people. They're all good people, and I look at all of them as my competitor.
When you hear them asking you questions about eminent domain, do you think that that's something that voters in New Hampshire are listening to that they care about? Do you think that could affect you?
Well, I was so happy they asked me that question because eminent domain is a very important thing for a country. I mean, you wouldn't have highways, you wouldn't have schools, you wouldn't have bridges, you wouldn't have airports, you wouldn't have anything. And the other thing is when the government takes your property, they pay you a fortune for it. They said Donald Trump likes eminent domain. I don't like it. It's a necessity. But they also said, it's called a taking. I'm in real estate. I'm very good at real estate. But it's called a taking of the property. But people don't realize a taking means you get paid. They don't just take it. They take it and then they pay. And if you're smart, you'll get much more than the value of your property.
Now, one of the issues they put Marco Rubio on the spot tonight was about his view on abortion, that there should not be any exceptions for rape, incest, life of the mother. Do you think that's too extreme of a stance, even in a Republican
Well, he
primary?
said no exceptions. I do believe in the three exceptions, yes.
But do you think it's too extreme?
Well, I thought it was a tough question for him, and he said that he doesn't believe in the exceptions, but then he came back and sort of said maybe he does. I'm not sure what his answer was because he actually answered it two ways. At first, he didn't, talk about the exceptions, and he came back and sort of indicated that he did believe in the exceptions. But I have the Ronald Reagan, Ronald Reagan believed in pro-life. He was pro-life with the exceptions.
Now, I'm curious, in the wake of the loss in Iowa, have you made any changes to your staff?
Excuse me, it wasn't a loss.
Well, the
I
second
came in
place-
second. 17 people started, and some went out. And it's the first election I was ever involved in. And I came in second and probably came in first. I mean, if you take away the...
How do you probably come in?
Because all you have to do is take away the Ben Carson that you people sort of slipped up on. But I'm not blaming CNN because actually CNN, it was not CNN's fault.
It was not.
It was
CNN did
very
not
plain,
report that we
honestly.
lost
And
that
you also came out with a tweet a minute later in case there was any question. But you take away those thousands of votes. In fact, one of the big shows on Fox did a study. It was Bill O'Reilly. And they said if that doesn't happen, Trump probably wins
So
Iowa.
you think you would have won if
I think so.
the Cruz campaign
You know
had
what it
not
amounts
done
to? 4 votes per precinct. So, but I don't care about that anymore because I'm totally into something else. You know what it is? New Hampshire. So I hope you had a good time.
Trump, just one more. Does it look like sour grapes sort of keep going back to Iowa at this point?
I'm not going back to it. No, I mean, you're asking me the question. I'm not. You're asking me a question. I think it's obvious what happened, but I don't care about it. What I care now about New Hampshire. We want to win, and we're going to win, I hope, and we're going to do very well.
You talked about Marco Rubio being scripted. You're somebody who prides yourself on telling it
No,
like
I
it
didn't
is.
say he was scripted. You said he was scripted. I thought he was very nice. No, I mean, actually, Sarah said he was scripted. But come on, let's blame CNN again, right, Sarah? But no, I think...
So we got 200
Jeff will
other
come on
guys.
mic.
Mr. Trump.
So you don't think he was scripted then? I just want to clarify that last
I mean, that's your decision, not me.
Mr. Trump, didn't Marco Rubio have a very bad night?
I don't know. You have to ask him.
It was kind of bizarre. But it was worse than Washington.
Why do you not attack Marco Rubio more aggressively?
Were you
Yes. Well, the tickets were all we had 4 tickets, and the other people had hundreds of tickets, maybe thousands. So. I have no donors. I don't want any donors. I don't want any special interest, lobbyists, or donors. And the tickets were all, we called up for tickets, and they don't have any tickets. And where are the tickets? The donors bought them. Well, the donors are supporting other people. And in particular, there were a couple of people, even if they gave a bad answer, they'd get a big applause. So
You said you want to do something worse than waterboarding. What would that be?
you'll find out.
Mr. Trump, Ted Cruz is beating up on you all week. Are you surprised you didn't do it tonight?
What would you say?
Where's your camera? Oh, which one?
These two actually are both.
Confirmed on Tuesday.